Hello and welcome to Highkey Obsessed. I am your host, Thomas Boomhauer, and joining me today, she packed her bags last night, pre-flight. It's Cassie!
Hello, hello.
Today, as you can tell if you're watching us on YouTube, we have something very special in store for you. It's not a normal episode by any stretch of the imagination. It's exemplary. It is very prestigious, very honorific, incredible. It is the Highkey Obsessed presents Best of 2025. That's right. It's an award show episode.
Hell yeah.
Insert music.
And sparkly outfits.
Sparkly outfits. I have maroon.
I wonder if I can get like an animation of like a hook.
That would be nice.
If one of us starts talking too long.
Yeah, we should do that. And then just insert the playoff music. Like the
Yeah,
oh,
so
there's-
like the
you're playing me off, so thank you,
guys.
Before we start awarding our nominees and getting into some really just stat categories, we have a great slate of nominees for everybody this evening. Some really great musical guests oncoming, and Rihanna's here. Shout out. So, Cassie, where can people find us?
You can find us on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at Highkey Obsessed Podcast. You can find us on YouTube at Highkey Obsessed Podcast, and you can follow us, listen in, and subscribe to us on all of your favorite podcast platforms of choice. And please, while you're there, give us those 5-star ratings and reviews. If you don't give us 5 stars, you will not be on our best of 2026 list.
No, you will not. And
you'll be on our worst of 2026 list.
That is a terrible place to be.
It is, because we're great.
We are great. We are the music makers and the dreamers who dream. All right, so with no more ado, no more gilding of the lily, let's get into... Actually, there is some gilding of the lily. In order to explain this isn't the best things that came out in 2025. These are the best things that we consumed or whatever, experienced, enjoyed in 2025. So now, let's get into it.
Hilariously, I think a lot of mine actually were things that came out in 2025, but it still stands that that's not how we chose.
No, I had a fair few as well for 2025, especially in a couple categories. So we're going to kick off with a very loaded category, maybe one of the most prestigious, one of the most tough, most competitive.
We're doing like the opposite of the Oscars. We're starting with like the peak category.
We gotta get you in, right? And then we're awarding our most prestigious award at the very end. However, we're getting you in hot. So Cassie, what are your nominees in the category of Best Book of 2025?
My nominees for the category of Best Book are Holy Terrors by Margaret Owen, The Night and the Moth. I should have written who these are all by because I'm going to totally brain fart these, but that's Rachel Gillig. Bitter Burn by Sierra Simone, and The Devils by Joe Abercrombie.
My nominees are The Bast Witch Hunt by Dr. Jan Mahilson. Shout out.
Good call.
The Personal Memoirs of Ulysses S. Grant by Ulysses S. Grant. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. And I got permission from Ben Reinert of HowlerPod fame to do this as one book, Feast for Crows and A Dance with Dragons by George R.R. Martin.
Fair. Very fair. That's really funny. Also, you would have nonfiction as some of yours. To be fair.
And also the memoir of someone who died like 150 years ago.
Right. Sunrise and the Reaping was one of my top books of 2025 for sure. It just wasn't the top of my top books. These 4 were like the top of my top.
Yeah, Sunrise of the Reaping motivated me to read Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes finally, and I was just blown away, just captivated.
I love that.
What is your winner for 2025?
My best book of 2025 is... It's hard. I'm like, it's a tie between Holy Terrors. It's actually a tie between all 3 of these, or all 4 of them, but I'm going to say my best book of 2025 was The Night and the Moth.
Wow. Wow.
It was
Shout
it
out.
was so good. And it just like I don't even think it's the book I rated the absolute highest. I think I gave it 4.5 stars. And Holy Terrors, I think I gave 5, right? Bitter Burn, I gave 5. But like, and The Devils, I gave 5. But like the chokehold that The Night and the Moth has on my brain is just unrelenting.
Yeah.
I cannot wait until the next book comes out this fall. How about you? What's
For
your
me, it was definitely the Feast for Crows, Dance with Dragons combination. I read the four post Game of Thrones books in A Song of Ice and Fire this year for the first time. I thought I had read Storm of Swords before, whatever the second one is, Clash of Chains maybe, and I had not, and I was just absolutely blown away. I think honestly, all four of those books probably be the top four books that I would have picked the first year, but
What would you pick if you had those 4? What would your top book be?
I think it's tough. I think it's definitely between Feast for Crows and Dance with Dragons. I think the Storm of Swords is so fucking crazy how much in that book and how like the wedding is like less than 2/3 of the through, and there's so much shit happens after that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I
But
also love, and I also think that it's totally legit to do Feast for Crows and
yeah,
Dance with Dragons.
and I think Feast for
The same book.
Crows has Brienne and Jaime, who are two of my top three favorite characters in there. But Jon Snow's number one. That's a dog. That's my dog. And so if I had to pick absolutely one and not like technically one, I would pick Dance. However, like the combination of the two and like the first three books are immaculate. And there's all the action, there's a lot of great world building, a lot of great character work. But then A Feast for Crows especially is really a great character study and character examination of these folks that we thought we got to know a little bit. And you're just seeing the way that their upbringing and their trauma has changed the course of history in Westeros, essentially, with what's going on with the war and all that. And it's really, really amazing and like brings the world almost smaller than it had been to the previous books. And then all of a sudden, Dance with Dragons blows it back up while having that same character focus.
Right. And they're happening at the same time, which is why it's so wild.
Yes.
Remind me, okay, so Feast is when there is like in the Seven Kingdoms, and then Dance, the first 3/4 is like
The
Arya
Wall.
and okay.
Yeah, and then
Arya the North.
Free cities or whatever the fuck. And
the Free Cities.
Whatever,
Okay, so it's
Daenerys'
like
area.
Danny, Arya, John
Yeah.
related. That okay. And then
Yeah, all that
that's
stuff.
so
And then
so
very
Feast
late in
ends
the
and we
game-
don't Feast ends and we don't know where Cersei is, and then the last quarter of
Yeah.
Dance we pick back up. Okay.
And then very late in the game, we get Sir Barristan Selmy's point of view. Dog goes fucking crazy. Shout out Barristan the Bold. They're incredible.
You can't
They're
decide
incredible.
between Feast and Dance?
No, I would go Dance only because of my dog Jon Snow.
Oh,
But-
got it.
and
See,
I
I would
think-
go Feast because of Cersei.
I think the other thing, okay, Cersei is really good. I would only like for me.
I
Feast
love
is
the
so good
same-
because Cersei's just going crazy, and it's so
Well-
funny how she's like, "I'm crushing shit." It's just like, girl, you're ruining
Well, it's
everything.
the same way. It's the same thing as like you love Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
Mhm.
I think that like the people who love Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes and like really get Ballad of Songbirds and
Mhm.
Snakes also love Cersei's point of view chapters
Mhm.
in Game of Thrones. Like those two people, that person is that those two people are the same person.
Yeah, for Feast, the Cersei chapters are incredible, and I mean all of them really. Like Jaime going through it, figuring his life out a little bit, and I think the single best chapter maybe in all of it, or the one that stands the most to me, is when the Biter and his crew are about to raid the orphanage, and she says, and Brienne's like, "No chance, no choice." And it's just like, oh my God, she's about to go fucking die for these random kids she doesn't know because she has to. Because she's a fucking knight, because she's a hero.
Oh. Okay.
Anyway, let's.
Anyways.
Oh, they're playing me off. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, God. Brings us to the best movies of 2025.
We're gonna have the
Another
same
stat
thing, I think.
category. Maybe. Cassie, what are your nominees?
My nominees are, in fact, all from the calendar year 2025, and they are Sinners,
Mm.
Wicked Part 2,
Okay.
and Thunderbolts.
Hmm. I haven't actually seen Thunderbolts yet, believe it or not.
I loved
I've heard
it.
really great things. Maddie and I are working back through Marvel from the beginning, the MCU from the beginning, and I might sprinkle in the essential other ones in time for Doom. But just that category.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I also have Sinners nominated.
Hmm.
Um, Also 28 years later, incredible stuff. 28 Days Later is one of my favorite movies, so
Right.
I was locked the fuck in. I was sitting, the Don Draper meme of him in the movie theater. That was me, just hitting that pose. Not even a cigarette, just hitting that pose for some reason the entire time. Just wow, absolute cinema. On a similar note, this one is from just it's like 2006 maybe. It is Sunshine, sci-fi movie, also directed by Danny Boyle, written by Alex Garland.
Sunshine.
It stars Cillian Murphy, crazy cast. Chris Evans is in it. Rose Byrne, a couple other really famous people I'm blanking on right now. Mark Strong, low key, and it's a crew of astronauts trying to restart the sun because it's dying and Earth is freezing, and they all kind of go insane, and it's awesome.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Who is your best movie of 2025?
My best movie of 2025 is Sinners.
Same here.
Yep.
It was nip and tuck, great movie 28 years later, but I had to give it to Sinners. So
I
similarly
mean,
to The Moth in the Night, the chokehold it has had on me ever since.
it's just talk about absolute cinema. So, so good. And like Thunderbolts was really funny and I really enjoyed it, but like, and Wicked was beautiful and I sobbed through the entire thing. But like, it's just like you said, Sinners just like it gotcha, like it got
Mm.
me and it has not let go. Funnily enough, like I haven't watched it since it came on streaming, but like, I don't know. It's just gonna sit with me for a long time.
Yeah, it's a
No.
powerful movie. I mean, it's been talked about to death, right? But it's very
Mm.
successfully does
By
everything
us.
that it's doing by us as well. But like, it's a top-notch vampire movie. It's a top-notch
Horror movie.
period drama. It's a top-notch horror movie. It's a top-notch. There's really powerful love stories in there.
Love story,
Um,
family story, like the brothers thing.
yeah,
Oh, oh.
and the fucking KKK gets killed. Like that's sick.
We love when the
Can't
cake
say
gets
that enough.
spilled.
They
Oh,
get shot the fuck up, and also, hell yeah, what the Ryan Coogler put out the script. He released the script, which is awesome because it's a masterpiece movie,
I love that.
and we have confirmation, which we knew. Remit, when they asked y'all plan, he was legitimately offended. He said, "No, sir." He meant that shit when he said we believe in equality. However, weird, weird interpretation of equality, Remit. So get fucked.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
However, again, that said, my man could sing.
Yes. And
Not as well
like
as Miles
also,
Tatton,
you know,
but he could sing.
the added piece of just like me and B's favorite band
Hmm.
doing two of the songs for the soundtrack. We're actually
Yeah,
seeing them in a couple weeks. So,
that's awesome.
yeah. All right. I think next up was best show.
Yes.
Keeping the theme. What were your nominees?
So I've fallen off hard in terms of both watching movies and watching shows, which is why all my nominees, well, most of my nominees were from 2025.
Mm-hmm.
For shows, it's almost the exact opposite. And a lot of them are sitcoms that my wife and I make our way through while we're eating dinner.
Mm-hmm.
So my nominees, I have The Paper, which is the new Dunder Mifflin Office spinoff. It's
Got it.
pretty good. It's not as funny as The Office, but it's kind of crazy. But I enjoyed it
Who's
a
the
lot.
spinoff about?
Nobody, but Oscar is in it because he's an accountant at the paper. But it's basically they were trying to come back whatever amount of years it's been to catch up with like what the company's doing 20 years later, and it's out of business and got bought by a random other company that now makes a newspaper. So they're doing the story about the newspaper in Toledo, Ohio, and it
Huh.
has
Okay.
what the fuck is his name? He plays Charlie Weasley. He plays a bunch of other guys,
You mean
other
Bill
things.
Weasley?
Bill Weasley. No, is Bill the dragon guy?
Charlie's not in the movies.
Okay, the dragon guy he plays. something Gleason, Dom Hall, perhaps. Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Um,
you mean from Star Wars?
yeah,
That's
whatever,
Bill
whatever
Weasley.
Weasley.
He plays
I wasn't,
Bill Weasley, who gets
I wasn't doubting
attacked
you.
by the werewolf.
I wasn't doubting you. I was just saying what I thought his name was. I don't know. I
I
don't
know,
know
but it has
shit.
nothing to do with dragons.
He
That's
plays
what
the
I'm saying.
dragon guy.
Charlie's the dragon guy. He
They
doesn't
just
play
mock it.
Charlie. He
All right.
plays Bill.
Anyway, whatever. I don't give a fuck about Bill. I don't care about Charlie. Anyway, Abbott Elementary, great show. Very, very, very funny.
Watch that.
It's really, really funny. And my wife is a teacher, so obviously it's very ridiculous, but there's some really good stuff there. Patient, which is a actually stars whatever Gleason I was just talking about, and Steve Carell, funnily enough. And one of them plays a serial killer who kidnaps his therapist in order to stop murdering people, right? Really tense, really good show, I think. Very powerful.
Huh.
And then this one, Modern Family, the good seasons. Only the good seasons.
When did it stop being good?
I don't know the exact number, but like let's say the first 5 seasons.
That's
4 or 5.
honestly, I think that's the formula in general. 3 to 5 seasons is every serial
Yeah,
should be.
especially comedies because they just become characters
Honestly,
of themselves.
everything. I can't think of a single show that really thrived after 5 years.
The Sopranos.
I've never watched The Sopranos.
I was gonna say Psych, but not really. There's the first
Not
4, and then
really.
it becomes insane, and there's a couple random bangers.
It's still entertaining. Like I still enjoy it, but like
Yeah.
it is not anywhere near as
The
good as
first,
just,
the
like
first 4 seasons are like a very smart, very funny show, and then the rest become more mainstream funny. What are your nominees for the best shows of 2025?
my nominees. I was right. I haven't done that. So mine were all 2025 releases. They were The Pit, which I know just came back out with its second season. Or is currently coming out with its second season. I'm waiting until it's all out before I reactivate HBO. And then Stranger Things. I loved this season. The haters can all fuck right off. It was perfect. And then
Not.
I said I loved this season and it was perfect. Andor was my third nominee. I really, really liked this the last season of Andor. I like couldn't even necessarily tell you what happens in it at this point, but I remember like when it ended being like, that was so much better than the first season.
That's awesome.
And just
I haven't
feel
seen
like
Andor yet.
it got me, I don't know. There's like all the rebellion stuff and everything like that. Just, I don't know.
Yeah, I think a lot of people had that.
Mm-hmm.
But what is your best show of 2025 from that prestigious slate of nominees?
With that, it's funny. I'm gonna go with The Pit, and I'm going like all 3 of these shows made me cry. I have not cried as hard as I did watching The Pit since like season 2 of Grey's Anatomy in college.
Wow.
Like it, and this was, I think, harder than that, honestly. Like the second hardest the next hardest I've ever cried watching a television show was probably the Buffy series finale when I was in high school. And then after that would be Denny dying in Grey's Anatomy. So like B had to like pause the show so that I could lie on the couch in the fetal position and sob for 30 minutes before we continued.
For 30 minutes?
30 minutes easily.
30.
Wow. I was.
Can I ask a question about The Pit?
Yeah.
Is it gross?
I don't know what
Stuff's gonna upset my tummy.
I don't think so, but I don't know what your like. Fair. I mean, you like Supernatural. Definitely not.
Okay.
Like, there's no. They're ER doctors, so there's never like they're not in the OR, really ever.
Okay.
It's all very much like. They also, it's been said by every medical person who's watched the show that is like hands down the only realistic medical drama ever. And it's so good.
Interesting.
What was your best show of 2025?
If I'm being real, my best show of 2025 is a rewatch, but we can't do that.
Is what?
is a rewatch, but it doesn't count.
Mm.
But I would say the first 5 seasons of Supernatural would be
Yes.
the real one. However, I will say the good seasons of Modern Family.
Okay. Okay.
Shout out those weird people.
We
Shout them
also
out.
mostly did a lot of rewatching this year too, so I get it.
It's that time of year.
Yeah.
All right. Music, very important to many people. Some of them even on this podcast.
Yes, indeed.
A lot of new music this year, in fact. A lot of old music waiting to be discovered.
Yeah.
What would you say were your best of 2025?
I have three things, and they're all so
Mm,
like I don't think I'm gonna pick one of these as my best because like I have my most listened to song of 2025, and that was Bears and Wolves by Lilith Max.
okay.
And that's like that I think song encompasses my general vibe of music
Mm,
this year, which was like female rage. Um, the best song, I will say, like, I think the best song that came out this year was Good Boy by Paris Paloma.
have not heard of it.
But there's no way. It's like, good boy, you're working exactly as intended. As the penny drops, you're never gonna get really. I'm sending it to you as soon as we're done here. It's basically like the song itself is like calling out all of these like incel, like
Mm,
young to middle age boys, men who are like defending the institution and like the status quo when like they
they're
are
not even benefiting from it.
not benefiting from it. And the
Wow.
intro to the song is actually Emma Thompson saying, I always knew I'd have to watch powerful men burn the world down. I just didn't expect them to be such losers.
Felt.
It's so good.
They don't even have
That's
motion. It's tough.
that's gonna be my best song of 2025, but my best album of
Mm.
2025 is gonna be "Where I've Been Isn't Where I'm Going" by Shabuzi.
Oh, okay. I have
So I
heard of
just
Shabuzi.
every song on there, so
Very
good.
nice.
How about
Very
you?
nice. I'm gonna read off my nominees, right? Memories and Empties, Coulter Wall. Came out just before the year ended, I believe. Falcon Studio Sessions by Kid and the Mill Tailors. Let God Sort 'Em Out by Clips. For me, hands down, best album. It's tough because I very much have somehow been absorbed into Appalachian folk music and that type of sub-country, sub-folk genre. It's my favorite music somehow.
I love
I
it.
fought with it so heavy, but Let God Sort 'Em Out by Clips is runaway my favorite album of the year. It's incredible. I fucking love Pusha T as previously discussed. Love
Yeah.
him so much. Your new governor, did an event with him. Virginia's own King Push.
Well, so Shabuzi's also a Virginia homegrown. He's from
Okay.
Woodbridge, which is Northern Virginia, where I'm from.
Shout out Virginia.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, we love Her Excellency.
Hmm.
First
We love
female
the Goya
governor in over
Montoya.
400 years.
That is awesome.
I know.
I mean, it's such it took so long, obviously, but it's awesome now. Like,
It's so cool.
fuck off, House of Burgess. I will say the best song of 2025 for me was definitely "No More Soul in the Soil" by Clyde and the Tailors. And one of the cool things about Clyde and the Mill Tailors is it's one of those like side project bands. So
Mhm.
everybody in it, they're doing their second best thing. And he is so Clyde is the headliner. He just does some guitar. He is the fiddler in the Bridge Street Sinners, and that boy fucking shreds the fiddle. Let me tell you what, it's crazy.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's very cool. I do love some folk music. What were your best drinks of 2025?
Wow, that's a loaded question. It's a loaded category.
It
So
is.
I'll say I have always admired. You know what? It's gonna have to be a free ad. I've always admired the branding of Coors, right? Coors Light, cold as the Rockies, silver bullet, great looking can. Tastes
Mhm.
terrible. But cold as the Rockies in the fridge and it's ready to rock, I'm like, that's sick. That's branding. That's marketing. That's how you sell product, get it out the door.
True.
Coors Banquet, little stubby bottle, right? The cool kind of nice yellow color, got that darker blue. It's very beautiful. It's very nice.
Hmm.
Coors Light, terrible, disgusting beer. Hardly drank it. Drank it for the first time this year. Not good. Coors Banquet, delicious, delightful beer. Love it very much. One of the best strains I've had this year. Saved my life in Utah because I was exhausted. Got 17 waters and two Coors Banquets in me at the wrong hotel bar.
That's true.
Incredible, incredible time. Um, my favorite coffee shop, shout out Heartland in Leeds, earned free ad from them.
Hmm.
Best coffee shop in the world, had a truck just crash right into their front window, smash it, closed for months, missed the whole farmers market season. Very tough for me personally.
Hmm.
That first latte back, undescribable, incredible thing. And then last but not least, I finally got my hands on a whiskey that I've wanted for years, paid too much for it. Not one of the better versions of it either. Still delightful, and that is the Midwinter's Night Dram.
What a great
Let me
name.
show it to you.
Great
That's why I
name.
wanted it. It's like, look at this bottle. Sick.
Hang
Sick
on.
bottle, right? Midwinter's Night Dram. Got a cool thing. Act 11, Scene 7.
Gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
I love that.
And it's pretty good. It's pretty damn good, I would say. I'm drinking it now because it's got a very fancy vibe to it. It's got a very winter vibe for a
It's
whiskey as
my
well, interestingly
my
enough.
coupe of bubbles. Yes.
Cheers.
Chin chin. All
Huzzah.
right. So wait, do you have another drink, or those are your
Those
three?
are the three.
All right. So mine are very specific.
Mm.
So my three nominees are actually two are very specific and one is insane. I had a boozy lavender lemonade when I was at Two Hands in Franklin, Tennessee. There's like it's called the Factory at Franklin, and it's one of those concepts where there's a bunch of different concepts and like shops and
Hmm.
restaurants within like a larger space, like an
Nice.
old factory building that's been converted. So one of the restaurants in there is called Two Hands,
That's magnificent.
and they had a lavender lemonade made with Empress gin, and it was so
Purple.
good. And I remembered my like best drinks from this year by like searching drinks in my photos,
That's
on
funny.
my phone, and I was like, oh, that was really good. So then I went on their website and like looked up what it was called.
Hmm.
And then similar vein, I had the bee's knees that I had at Pascal's in Denton,
Pedro.
Texas, which is kind of like a speakeasy vibe. It's like the small door, you go
Mm.
upstairs, and it's like all like very dark wood, mismatched eclectic antique furniture,
Nice.
like a small bar tucked off to the side. It's all very like handmade craft cocktails and bookshelves everywhere. It was so good.
Very
And then the
nice.
last the last drink I had this past year that was really good is actually horrifying. It is champagne and Diet Coke.
Okay. I've heard that this is nice. And it's
So,
specifically Diet Coke, right? Like
and it's
otherwise it's an
specifically Diet
abomination.
Coke, and it's Stephen Colbert. So he doesn't drink
Right.
really. Oh no, not Stephen Colbert. It was on the Colbert Show, but it's Tom Hanks.
Oh.
He was at like a party, and someone was like, "Oh, do you want something?" He's like, "Sure," but he's holding a Diet Coke, and they just like
Mhm.
he was like, "Just put it in here," and it was delicious. So like he pulled out a Diet Coke, and the two of them drank it, and it was really. My friend showed it to me while we were
Mhm.
at her house, and she was like, "Let's do it," and we did, and it was horrifyingly delicious. I was like, I really hate how good this is.
I feel like it made sense though, because there's like yeah, I can see it. I see the vision.
Yeah, I don't have
I
any
hate
Diet
Diet
Coke in
Coke
my
though,
house. Otherwise, I would
unfortunately.
have totally made that tonight for this.
Would have been fitting.
But I think what was your favorite of
It's
those?
gotta be the first latte back at Heartland. It's
I
gotta be. There's no other
remember
choice.
how excited you were for that.
I
So
was very excited. It's
I think
there's
that
this
makes
meme of Drake drinking like Sprite, and he's the that's what happened.
cool.
People will know.
Love that for you.
What about you?
Hard to say, but I'm gonna go. with the I'm gonna go with the bee's knees from Pascal's, and also just like bee's knees in general have been very much my vibe lately.
Okay, I see it.
I ordered one out to dinner when I was out with my dad recently, and he was like, "What did you order?" It's like bee's knees. He's like, "Okay." He was like, "You." The way he said "okay" was very much "Okay, you asshole."
Wow. Wow.
No, which I think is
Okay. I think so. Now, best experience.
fair.
Very emotional category. I think we can cheat though, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to read off my nominees, but I think we can award not one, but two winners here. And I think you'll know why. So for me, my three nominees: the waterfall hike on my honeymoon with my lovely wife and some random strangers, including two weirdos. Dragon Steel Netsiscon 2025 / meeting Tomi Adeyemi. Serving on the Village Board of Trustees in my very own Catskill, New York. One of the incredible experience. Love it a lot. How about you?
I couldn't pick like one specific thing, or I should rather say I couldn't pick just a few. So like I lumped them into categories.
Okay.
So like for mine, it was like I did so many things last year. I went to not like humble brag, but like
Just
for
a brag.
just a full on brag. No, like on the con side, I went to Awesome Con, Galaxy Con in Richmond, Enemies and Lovers out in Arizona. The Dragon Steel with you was
Yep.
so much fun.
And all
I
our
mean,
Howler friends.
all of our Howler friends,
Not
like
all of them,
that
but
was
enough
so
of them.
enough of them.
Some
That
of them.
was so wild, so fun. Similarly, just like other random author signings I went to were amazing. I went to some fantastic concerts and on great trips. I went to London and Edinburgh again this year, or last year, I should say, with B. It was, I welcomed a new niece into the world and got to hang out with my sisters and my family. I said this at like kind of in all of my end of year posts on social media, but like 2025 fucking sucked in a lot of very real ways for the world. For me personally, it was actually kind of a banger of a year. I also started my editing business and my author social media support business. Got my first client on both of those arms. And some dope shit happened last year. So
Yeah, I feel like that's a common theme, right? Like 2025 was tough for our communities. It was tough for our nation here in America, right? It was tough. 2026, not letting up. But for us, a lot of people individually, especially in our online communities, and I think personally as well, I'll say for myself, just like weirdly, our personal lives have been opposed to what's going on, where we've had very rewarding experiences, a lot of personal growth, a lot of enrichment experiences, and things like that. And it's probably because of all the holes that we're hearing on the big picture and then outside of our control. So what we can control, we've maximized, I think.
that
And
and
that's the
also,
fucking energy we're bringing to 2026, right? Is
yeah.
let's fight the power. Let's be
Well,
the
and
change.
that's
Harness this shit.
let's harness this shit. Absolutely. And that's kind of what I was going to say is like, even less than like, I can control these things, I'm going to make it great, is more like the universe is trying to like give us something to recharge our batteries so we can continue to fight.
What is your best experience of 2025?
I think, honestly, I'm still riding the high from Dragonsteel. So
I think so. I think we can cheat, and that's our best shared experience of 2025. Easy, right?
perfect.
Because it was like incredible, and I think it's unfair even to include it with how I mean, I don't know if we can even leave this in the episode because it might seem rude, but we were in a jump stream circle with Pierce Brown, Matt Dinneman, fucking Ryan Cahill, the other fucking people, and Pierce Brown screamed saying "Mr. Brightside" to me for a chorus. Like
He
that's a
did.
thing that happened.
In your
That's fucking
face.
crazy. That's a crazy thing. Like what the fuck?
It was. I mean, that was crazy. Just the whole, honestly, like that was crazy in the most visibly like whoa
Yes.
moment.
And that's not even like a top five. It's a
But that's
top,
not even a
but it
top
wasn't
five
even like
moment of
the
the whole
headliner of it.
event, the whole week.
No,
Like
that was
it
like a
was,
side. That's the most easily to explain thing. But it was just like a surreal experience of fandom and love. I'll just speak for myself really quick about it. But like I ended up working a booth for you were working at Escalade's booth almost by design, right? And so I was helping with that, but I also worked the what is it called?
yeah. No, my God. I like keep forgetting about this too. That like you were literally just like working
Yes.
the Curious Kings side
Yes.
of the booth for like hours,
Yes. And just because it
like
was fun, just
covering
for the love of the game.
covering for
And
them. Like
that
it was
that's what put it over
crazy.
the top for me is that I talked to people who just absolutely adored the books that Curious Canes put out, like in their special editions, and just talking to book lovers for
Yeah.
4 hours, one on one like that, and then twos and threes was incredible.
Yeah.
Just the passion.
And that's why I work at AwesomeCon every year, right?
Hmm.
That's why I don't just like go. Not that I didn't love going as an attendee, but working it, even like in a small capacity, like line management for the
Hmm.
signings, is so much more enjoyable to me because I get to talk to all of these people who like we all have this shared love of these nerdy things. And I'm actually getting
Hmm.
into kind of what my biggest obsession of 2025 is. So I'm gonna hold and we'll
Okay.
pick it up in a minute. But yeah, so our combined shared experience was Dragonsteel, hands
Yes.
down, Dragonsteel Nexus.
Yes. And
Um,
again, thank you for getting us on, like, for networking your ass off. I never would have gone to Dragon's Steel if we hadn't done media passes. I haven't read Sanderson still, so I had no interest in
Will.
it. And being able to go, it's legitimately one of the most incredible experiences I've had in my life. So if other people are out there, I think you don't have to read Sanderson to go. I think I would imagine it certainly enhances the experience. And he and Emily, his wife,
Yes.
curated an incredible experience for people. And like shout out them, shout out the Dragonsteel team, but shout out Cassie, my co-host, because it was incredible.
Well,
So
with
thank
that,
you for putting us out there.
shout out to Joel
Yep.
for introducing me to
Shout out.
Octavia, and huge shout out to Octavia and the
Hmm.
Dragonsteel team for inviting us. I mean, that was really just such an incredible experience all the way around. So
Shout out Molly. Compliment my glasses. Fucking that's the number. That's number one
that's because
experience for me.
Molly is the tits. Molly and
They
Emily,
said I can
the
tell
Lit
your
Escalades team.
fashionable. I said,
What'd you
wow.
say?
They said I can tell you're fashionable. I said that's all I need to hear. I love you. I'll chill for you.
You know what? I love that. I love that. The Lit Escalates team, the Curious Kings team, the Dragonsteel team, everyone was just amazing. Zero notes.
Zero notes. But what's your best singular experience of 20? I guess Cassie exclusive experience of
Cassie
2025.
exclusive experience. I mean, that one's going to be my nieces,
Hmm.
getting to spend time with them and
Cute.
see the little human that my oldest niece is turning into and getting to meet my newest niece
Yeah,
was
it is really cool when they start being people and having like
she
making
has the
jokes and having
biggest
personalities and
personality
funny.
too. Oh my God, she's an absolute handful, and I'm completely obsessed.
Hmm. For me, I'll keep it quick. I'll say serving on the village board because you expect to deal with weirdos on when you're serving on the village board. You don't expect that on a waterfall hike.
One of our spoilers has to be TLC.
Because I was chasing 7 waterfalls exactly. All right.
All right, biggest
I think
obsession of 2025. Here we go.
wow. But first, before we get to the most prestigious award, let's share a moment to talk about our most hated of 2025. I'll take things over to you.
Ice.
Yeah,
Fuck ice.
fuck 'em.
You?
Well, I'll cover the other side of the coin. Timothy Chalamet. 2026. Listen, things started off. I called my shot early. 2026. We're flipping on him. I can tell. I can feel it.
I actually already
Marty
am.
Supreme put a dent in that, right? People are rocking with Marty Supreme. I like the scene I've seen on Instagram where they're like, "What if your little dream doesn't work out?" He says, "It doesn't even enter my consciousness." He stole that from me, so fuck you. Timmy, the flip stripping, the flip stripping,
The flip scripting.
the script is flipping. Timothy Chalamet, get ready.
I mean, he did talk shit about child-free people, so
Weird thing to do.
super weird thing to do.
Weird thing to do. Republican coded. Republican coded, Timmy.
It is.
Bye bye, Timmy.
You're
Anyway,
so weird.
now back to nice round. Let's get nice again. What are the things that obsessed you the most in 2025? Or
I
we can just
mean,
straight up award it.
so many things, all the things that we already talked about, obviously, like, Hermione obviously continued as we have previously discussed this
Yeah,
season.
previously discussed that.
I think the thing I am the most obsessed with and have been the most obsessed with this past year is just like the fandoms.
I like that a lot.
Especially the Red Rising fandom, but I will say literally just our little online bookish community has been there have been a couple of bumps in the road this year for sure, last year, but I feel so like hopeful and much closer to everyone than I did going into 2025 by this time. And I'm just completely fucking obsessed with all of you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
How about
I
you?
will say this in answer.
Is this sword? Oh.
And now my watch begins. Shall not end until my death. This motherfucking A Song of Ice and Fire has to be. I got a quarter of the way into A Clash of Kings and was like, oh my God. Oh my God. Nobody's fucking written like this. It's crazy. And it's very much like, I have a master's in history. I think I would have loved to be a history teacher. Not out of the cards, maybe someday. But the world building is just remarkable. And that's not to in any way cast aspersions on any other author, but just the way it gripped me was incredible. And I would say, yeah, just incredible. Just an incredible work of fiction.
Yeah.
And George, listen, we're going to connect you with Bruno Mars for reasons I will not elaborate on. We're going to connect you with me, and I'm going to gas you the fuck up. You're going to finish these books, baby. It's going to be great. They're going to be incredible. You got this.
Maybe
George,
Bruno Mars and
you got
Keanu
this.
Reeves.
To balance it out, right?
I was going to say for the longevity piece, like, what?
Maybe Paul Rudd a little bit. Paul Rudd can get in there. He's not quite ageless. I hate when people say he hasn't aged a day. He has. But my man looks great.
And Keanu didn't start aging until about 5 years ago.
And he looks great. Whoa.
Convinced he might be a vampire. Just saying.
The good kind.
All vampires are good. Just depends on your perspective.
Right. So that's a terrific show. 2025. Horrible year in some respects. Incredible year in many others. I feel like a lot of growth, a lot of really great reads, especially, and then pretty good other things consumed. And again, incredible experiences. So that brings us to this week. We're Highkey Obsessed with.
I am Highkey obsessed with, Scottish Dragon Omegaverse Regency romance.
Okay. Makes sense. Omegaverse, as I well know, is fan fiction. That's what that means.
No.
Fuck.
No.
I thought I had it locked in.
It's just like a romance sub. It's like a subgenre.
But it's not fan fiction.
It is so we discussed in the Hermione episode.
Yep.
One of our favorites is an Omegaverse fic, but Omegaverse exists outside of fan fiction.
Word.
Yeah. Anyways,
sorry. So
for those of you who have not read the Alpha of Bleak Isle or the newest book, The Alpha of Grave Hills, highly recommend. Scottish Dragons, just saying.
Scottish Dragons. Okay. Mine is actually, believe it or not, a little bit similar because I am highly obsessed with the novel Jurassic Park.
Are you
Want to
going
know why it's
dragons and
similar?
dinosaurs? Dragons and
Yeah,
dinosaurs? Yeah.
dinosaurs and dragons. However, here's another thing: humans meddling where they don't belong. Did you think of that? So I'm listening to it mostly. I'm reading it a little bit, but mostly listening to it. And I'm gonna coin a term, possibly. I think the narration I would describe as a third person smudnition, right? Where it's third person omniscient, but there's a lot of smudness coming from this narrator. Some of it from the reader, right? The voice actor who's doing this book.
Hmm.
I think his name is Stop Rick.
Hmm.
So there's like a certain ominous smudness in his tone when he's reading things, but I think it's also like Crichton's narration voice as well, like the voice he's using for this story. And I find it very compelling. It's pretty different from the movie in a lot of respects. I think broad strokes are very similar.
Hmm.
Certain characters are changed. Have you read the book before?
Mm-mm.
Can I give you a minor spoiler?
Please do.
So one of the things that is interesting to me is that in the movie, Dr. Grant hates kids. In the book, he loves kids. He's like, they fucked with dinosaurs, and I fucked with that heavy. And I'm like, that
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense that he would like kids because he love dinosaurs, and this guy loves dinosaurs. And it reminded me two things. One is that like Spielberg, one of the most acclaimed, especially commercially, directors of all time.
Hmm.
Books are just better. Books are just better. It's tough. Like
Always.
almost always, it's better. The other thing is that it reminds me of in The Social Network when Justin Timberlake's character is like, lose the, just Facebook. And he's like, I can just picture him being in the meeting with Crichton. He's like, all Hollywood vibes, being like, Dr. Grant hates kids. You know what I mean? It's a weird comparison, but I just like the novel is really, really good. And just the fact to make a change like that for no reason is just such a Hollywood thing, I feel like, as someone with no experience in it. And
Yeah.
it because it doesn't really change the story thus far. It's just like a little interesting wrinkle. But really good, I recommend it.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. I've only ever watched the. I
Did you
may
say
have
you've only
watched.
watched the third movie?
I was going to say the first, but I
Okay.
I may have seen all of the second and parts of. Oh no, I watched one of the newer ones. The
Okay.
first Chris Pine one, not Chris Pine.
If it was Chris Pine, it'd be immaculate.
Who am I thinking of?
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt.
That one was okay. Like it's a fine popcorn movie. It was
Right.
crazy how much money it made, but it was a fine popcorn movie. The second one even was fine.
That was still that I think was early enough that like we like my generation hadn't gotten cynical about all the like IP recycling,
Yeah.
right? Like now I think if that came out, it would not have made as much
No.
money. But like
I think
we were still like, oh
yeah.
my God, it's our shit coming back. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now we're like, oh my God, make something new.
That's awesome. Okay. All right. So great episode. Unlike the Oscars, we kept it short for you. You know, we're top, and we also kept it topical. Or
Yes.
did we? So, listeners, faithful watchers, all you lovely folks, be sure to follow the show at IT Obsessed Podcast on Instagram, on Threads, on YouTube, on Blue Sky, because once in a while we will post there. Sometimes we remember that Blue Sky exists.
Sometime.
And follow Cassie at Shortbait's Bookshelf on TikTok, Instagram, and on Threads. And when you're looking for the show, make sure to subscribe, follow, do all that good stuff. And where you're able to rate us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars only. If you don't give us 5 stars only, we will send you to a remote island where a unfortunate strange series of events happens, and you're hunted by dinosaurs. And guess what? Dinosaurs haven't lived for 65 million years. You can't predict their behaviors. It's gonna go badly for you. It's gonna go badly for you. And yeah, so until next time, remember. Oh, they're playing me off.